session will be on mindful movement. And I was remembering that when we started doing these Wednesday wellness sessions, the number of active cases were in the high hundreds, like 700. And now, you know, it's been fantastic to see the low numbers and everything open up. So we've come a long way. And I think even more so, it's important and fitting that we're talking about mindful movement and how important that is. So Annette Marlow will take us through some stretches that you can do at your desk. You don't have to move. And then Amelia Twiss will talk to us about mindful movement and the importance of physical activity. So I will let Annette start the process for us. Thank you. And just a reminder, we won't be having a session next week because it's the short week, but we'll be back on the 11th. And we'll look forward to having some conversation after Amelia's presentation as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Dori. Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome back to those familiar faces and welcome to anyone new today. Just a little bit of a briefing. I know that most of you know me as the mindful meditation teacher at Nexus, which I've been doing for many years now. I've also been teaching all and an exercise coach for over 20 years. So I do spend much of my week running exercise sessions. So it's kind of nice for me to guide you through a few exercises today. But in keeping with the whole mindfulness theme, I think it's really important that what we're integrating today is the same sense that we would bring to any of the other mindful activities that we've done. You know, we've done mindful listening meditations. We've spoken about mindful eating, and it's the same with movement. By moving mindfully, the same principles apply. It means that we're bringing our attention into the very present moment and observing what we find there. So in mindful movement, and there's plenty of examples of modalities around the world which incorporate mindful movement, such as Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, all of those connect a attentive attention into the present moment, observing what's going on inside of you and around you, and also bringing in breath. And when we bring breath into mindful movement or into meditation, what it does is it really allows our body to relax and to really tame our nervous system. So when we're talking about stress and tension that's housed in our body, to bring breath into that is so important for us to reduce tension. So we house tension in our bodies in many ways. Sometimes we house tension through physical activity, through exercise, over-exercising or no exercise, or sitting with poor posture at our desk. Sometimes we hold tension in our bodies because we're not drinking enough water. Sometimes it's for emotional reasons that we hold tension, when we are experiencing overwhelm, fear, anger. All of that is housed in our body, and we house our tension in all different ways. Some of us house it in our neck and shoulders, some of us in our lower back or hips. We're all different. But what I wanted to demonstrate to you today is that when we take a mindful approach and tune into what our body needs and bring the breath into a movement, we can go a long way with managing our own tension. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a few moments of that. So let's all begin. I'm going to move myself back so you can see me. Let's all, actually, I'll do that right now, and then I'll walk you. I'll just make sure you can all wave. Can you all see and hear me still on my chair? Okay, great. So just to demonstrate the difference between a tense and contracted state versus what it feels like to be relaxed. So I want all of us to just clench our fists, maybe shrug our shoulders, maybe come into a really tight paw posture, even clench your face and hold your jaw tight, and just really notice how your body's feeling right now. And then let's just begin to unravel that. Let's slowly release our fists and soften our hands onto our lap. And you may even want to close down your eyes as you feel your shoulders now just slipping away from your ears. You may notice your face muscles relax, your jaw, lips. And just feeling the ease of the difference between being tense and letting go. And so I invite you over the next few moments to bring that same awareness to notice how you feel at the beginning of a stretch or movement, how you feel during it, and how you feel at the end of it after you've slowed down your breath and brought the breath into the practice. So we'll start with a few movements and then we'll get into some stretches that we hold. So let's all reach our arms overhead and interlace your hands together. And you can flick your palms so that they face the ceiling and just gently begin to stretch your arms up. And just notice initially what you feel like. Maybe you can start some side to side movements, noticing the sensation in your hands, in your shoulders, in your rib cage, noticing where there's tightness, and then just gently release that. And we'll just roll our shoulders around a little bit. We'll roll our shoulders the other direction. And before we do some holding stretches, we'll just interlace our hands behind your back. So basically clasping your hands together. And see if you can roll your shoulder blades towards each other and drop your shoulders away from you. Perhaps you can even lift your chest up and feel an opening across your chest and heart space, noticing again where the tightness is, how it feels for you. And then just gently releasing out of that. Okay, so to begin with, what we're going to do is I'm going to get you to shift to your right side of your chair. So I'm half on my chair and I've got a little bit of room. I'll just can you see, there we go. See, can everyone see me clasping the side of my chair? We're going to lean slightly to the right. Make sure your shoulders are pressed down and we're going to tilt our right shoulder towards our right ear. And just take a moment to notice if there's tension here or tightness. And then start to connect to your breathing. So feeling the breath come in and out of your nostrils and then purposefully just slowing the breath down. If you feel like a little bit of a stronger stretch here, you can take your hand and place it over your left ear. Just a little anchor. Don't yank, don't force. You can close your eyes and we'll take 3 or 4 rounds of breathing together here. Just noticing. Gently remove the hand over your ear and gently roll your chin forward to come out of it. Slowly take some movements through your shoulders and we'll shift over to the other side. Gripping the outer edge, the right side of your chair, moving to the left side, lean slightly to the left, make sure your right shoulder is depressed, dropping away from your ear, and allow your left ear to bend towards your left shoulder. Either staying in that position or taking what we did before with an extra weight over your ear, begin to follow your breath. Nice deep inhale, long exhale, calming the nervous system, allowing the body to soften, to calm, to let go. Notice if your mind wanders, if you can bring it back to following the breath and noticing the sensation of the stretch. We'll gently remove the hand, roll the chin in slowly, and coming back into your seat and taking any movements that feel good for you. We're going to interlace our hands together now and place them behind your head. So not your neck, the wide part of the back of your head. And what I want you to do, aside from sitting up nice and tall here, is I want you to get a sense of what it feels like to press your head back just slightly and gently into your clasped hands. And then I want you to begin to bring your elbows towards each other and very slowly and mindfully begin to drop your chin towards your chest. Just find a position that is comfortable for you and just see if you can purposefully drop your shoulders now away from your ears. So your shoulder blades are sliding down your spine. You may notice some tension at the back of your neck. And now begin to follow the breath again. As you exhale, can you find a little more softening? Perhaps you can let the neck go a little more as you breathe out. As you finish your next breath out, just slowly begin to lift your chin up gently, coming back with the elbows, and see if you can now just open up your elbows a little more, feel the weight of your head into your hands, and just feel the stretch of the elbows opening. You might notice it across your chest. And then we'll gently release down again, taking any movements that feel conducive to you. And now we're going to take our right hand and we're going to clasp the chair in front of you. So our legs are much wider apart. You're going to grip between your legs and under the chair. Reach your left arm overhead. Make sure you're nice and tall in your spine now. And we're slowly going to take a side bend over to our right. Now, if you notice by watching me, my left shoulder is not leaning forward. I'm actually rotating my left shoulder back. Maybe you can even look up to your fingertips or to the sky. If your neck's really sore, you can drop it down. And just begin to notice the sensation of the lengthening from your hip through the side body, through your side rib cage, through your arms, all the way through your fingertips. And as you begin the flow of your breath, see if you can inhale to lengthen. And as you exhale, maybe you can just find that you can relax a bit and find a little bit more movement here. Breathing in and softening out. To come out of this, we're just going to roll the shoulder forward and gently ease our way out of that. And we'll repeat the same on the other side. Clasping your left hand underneath the chair, reach your right arm up. Lengthen, breathe in. Exhale, bend to breathe out. Right top shoulder spins back, and now you're just going to settle into the movement. Noticing if you can relax a bit more. And we'll gently roll the top shoulder forward. And now keeping your legs wide apart, I want you to place your hands onto your thighs and feel your spine lengthening really tall. So your chest is lifting And we're going to just tilt our hips forwards. So if you saw me on the side, I'm going to lean myself forward. I've got a really nice straight spine. I'm looking at a space in front of me, which is probably your computer. And what we're going to do here is we're going to roll our left shoulder forward. And we're slowly going to spin our rib cage to the right. Maybe you can even look over your right shoulder. And then you're going to connect to your breath. And each breath out, you're just going to see if you can feel a little deeper into this movement. So you're leaning forward and you're trying to get your left rib cage to rotate a little more to the right. And now we'll slowly come back through center, looking forward again, but I want you to pull both shoulders back now, like you're squeezing your shoulder blades together. And then from there, we're going to move our right shoulder forward and slowly begin to twist, looking over our left shoulder. So our right rib cage is spinning over towards our left side. Find your breath and take a few breaths here. Coming back through center, let's round our spine and come back up into a seated position, rolling your shoulders back. And as per usual, I had about another 25 stretches to give you, and our time is flying by. So I better stop there. You can always flick us a message if you would like to do more of this kind of thing, if you'd like to find out more about how you can incorporate more stretching and movement, then flick us a message and we can see what we can organise. So Amelia will talk more about now the importance of movement, and I'll hand it over.
Thanks, Annette. I don't know about the rest of you. I really enjoyed the mindful movement session. And as we were doing that, I was thinking, oh, wow, we should do this a lot more often. It's a really, really nice thing to do, just sitting in your chair, and so easy to apply, you know, even if you're at work, for example. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about wellbeing and physical activity today. And those of you who've been with us for a few weeks now will be pretty familiar with the way that we talk about wellbeing. So we define wellbeing as being how you feel, how you function, and how you evaluate your own life. And we've been just taking a moment to check in on the wellbeing continuum each week, just giving ourselves an assessment, with 1 being feeling bad and functioning poorly, and 10 being feeling good and functioning well, just checking in on our own well-being and reflecting back on any scores that you've had over the past few weeks. And I don't know about all of you, but I reckon today my score is probably just a little bit higher, knowing that we're coming out of these restrictions. All right, so physical activity is part of this wellbeing model that we've been working through over the past few weeks. And we've kind of been talking about this as like a recipe for wellbeing and healthy living. So physical activity is one of the best things that people can do to improve their health. It's vital for healthy aging and can reduce the burden of chronic disease and prevent early death. I've also got a beautiful table here of all the other benefits of physical activity. But essentially, if we're talking about well-being, being about feeling good, functioning well, exercise is really an easy win when it comes to well-being, I guess. It's one of the best things that you can do. It helps increase endorphins. So sometimes we talk about those as being happy hormones. So typically when we engage in movement, we feel better afterwards. You might have just noticed that from that short movement activity that we've just done. And exercise can also help to reduce stress hormones. And we were talking last week about how to process stress as well. Lots of other benefits there. So lowers your risk of dying early, reduces risk of dementia, improves your cognitive function, overall improvement in quality of life, can help improve sleep. A big one that's important for us in the sessions that we're running here, it can really help you with any symptoms of depression or anxiety. So I'll go on and talk about that a little bit more in a minute. So exercise. How do we exercise? It's really important to highlight here that exercise is, part of our daily life, and figuring out ways to integrate physical activity into your life. So talking about, how can you create a habit out of movement? How can you do things that are fun? Exercise isn't meant to be a chore. It's not meant to be stressful. And how can you create a lifestyle that you can maintain for the long term? So we don't suddenly get fit and then stop exercising. We are exercising all the time, well, most of us, and increasing our fitness, and our fitness will be ebbing and flowing over time. But it's really something to try and integrate it into your lifestyle. Important, of course, to also start out slow. If you're someone who hasn't been doing a lot of exercise, going from 0 to 100 is a great way to invite an injury. And we were discussing earlier how it's important to have a variety of different exercise in your life. So a lot of people have been walking a lot with lockdown, and it's important to do things like different types of cardio, strength training, walking, gardening. We'll talk about push-ups and lunges in this little example as well. So checking in on ourselves, a bit of a self-evaluation. We like to do that in these sessions. How many days over the past week have you engaged in 30 minutes or more of moderately intense physical activity? Would you say less than 3 days, 3 to 5 days, or more than 5 days? And I've put in a picture here of someone doing some sweeping, because yes, housework definitely counts. And with all of us being at home and being in front of our computers a lot lately, we're missing out on quite a bit of the incidental physical activity that a lot of you would have been getting just from walking to the station, for example, walking from the station to the office. So we thought it might be helpful at the end of the conversation to reflect on how your exercise habits might have changed during lockdown, what you're missing, what you're enjoying, any challenges that you're facing. Before we do that, I wanted just to highlight this research that's being done at the moment at Deakin Uni. So they are looking at using diet and exercise to treat COVID-related depression. So it's a really powerful combo, and we talked about nutrition with Annette recently, thinking about ways to improve what you're eating and increasing your physical activity has been found to have a positive effect on people's depression symptoms. And I really love this because it's, it's free, it's easy. There are lots of ways to start to increase movement and exercise in your life without having to pay, a lot of money to go to a trainer or anything like that, or to see a lot of health professionals. So just a reminder, wellbeing is a practice. It's an active commitment. It's something that we do ongoingly. We don't just suddenly have it and then stop working towards it, but also to remind ourselves to be gentle in terms of our expectations, particularly if we're talking about, exercise during lockdown. Some of you might have dropped off in your exercise. Just a reminder to be kind to yourself about that, and to acknowledge that, we've been going through a hard time. And getting motivated to do the usual things has been a lot harder than it used to be. So I'll stop that there, and just open up to the rest of you to hear a little bit around, how has your exercise changed during lockdown? And maybe it hasn't changed at all. Are there any challenges that you've been facing with physical movement whilst you've been working from home?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hi, Caddy.
Yeah. Yes, I'm walking a lot more than I ever used to, and